activity, though. And how does that, go back to the things you talk about of procrastination and disorganization and distraction? I would think it's more of a distraction than anything else, but how does that relate to them in the procrastination and disorganization arena?
Are you talking about people with ADHD specifically?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Okay. So focused distractibility is a very big issue with people with ADHD. For a lot of them, medication helps a great deal with that, both in terms of um, helping with distractibility and with disorganization, with planning and so on. Medication does not solve all the issues that people have, but it can be really, really helpful. Um, but the things you mentioned, one of the things about people with ADHD is that, and I am in this category. Um, you mentioned one of the reasons that people don't do something is because they're not interested in it or they don't want to do it. That's even more extreme with people with ADHD. They're really great about doing things they want to do, and I should say, we are really terrible at doing things we don't want to do. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so, so it's just in some way more extreme. But we put things off for all the same reasons. But again, not wanting to, not being interested is a big one. So we have to come up with ways either to, like if you're in a business, um, outsourcing, finding people who are good at and enjoy the things that you don't enjoy and may not be that great at, you can pay to do it for you. And that allows you to do the things that you're really interested in, that you do really well and are much more likely to make you more money.
Well, I was just going to mention, in order to pay people to do something you don't like to do, you've got to be able to afford it, which does mean that you have to be slightly organized to be able to do that, because you've got to be able to organize and do what you do well. So you've got to be able to make that happen. And you also can't procrastinate about those things, because, it's so difficult to get it all together. And I would think that, in fact, you could probably answer this question. When people get on their devices, whatever they are, whether that be an iPad or an iPhone or whatever, they are really focused. I mean, I watch people and they are focused.
Yeah, but on what?
Does a person with ADHD, are they as focused on those instruments as someone who does not have it?
Wow. I don't know. I only have my own experience. Again, it's like if you're doing something, if you're using it for something that you're really interested in, then it's much, much more likely that you're going to be focused on it. People get focused on their devices for doing all kinds of things, many of which are not productive at all. Right?
That's true.
Surfing. I mean, you know, I will get this idea, and you also mentioned sort of what we call the shiny penny syndrome, right? Something
right.
comes up. So I'll be in the middle of working. And I work mostly, I spend a lot of time in my computer. I don't have a tablet, that stuff, but I'll get this idea all of a sudden of something I want to look up, that I'm curious about. And it may have nothing to do with the work I'm actually doing in that moment, but it's just this thing pops into my head. So I go to Google and I Google it. And the next thing I know, it's an hour later.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
I've gone down. I mean, maybe I spent 5 minutes on that one thing or 10, but then something else came up, and then I said, "Well, let me look on Amazon." And this thing on Amazon, that's an interesting looking thing. Let me look at that, and it's like, finally, you come up for air. So, with people with ADD, ADHD, so that being unable, having difficulty focusing is definitely an issue, but we also have something that's called hyperfocus, which
Mm-hmm.
we really get, and again, it's particularly around something that we're really interested in doing and enjoy doing, and we get like lost in it. And people can work 2, 3 hours on something, blocking out the rest of the world. All of a sudden, they come up for air and look at, oh my God, look what time it is. I was supposed to be somewhere an hour ago, or whatever. So that's the flip side.
Well, so how does all of this relate to living regret-free?
Well, all what we're talking about in a variety of ways is doing the things that we want to do, getting accomplished the things that are important to us, that are create the kind of life that we want. Whether it's in a business and having a successful business or successful career that supports us financially, allows us the time to do other kinds of activities because we're focused and efficient. You hear all the time, we don't people on their deathbeds don't regret things that they did, they regret things they didn't do, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So it, I actually was in preparing for our talk today. I went and I looked up online things about regret free living, regret free, and so on, to see what I found out. And there was one thing I found out: 20 regrets from people on their deathbeds. And 4 of them, I wish I'd taken action and dove in head first, right? I wish I didn't wait to start it tomorrow. That's procrastination, both places. I wish I'd taken more chances. That's not held back. And I wish I would have kept going. All those have to do with exactly the things we're talking about.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
dealing,
So
if
that's why I
procrastination,
think it's, yeah. I mean, you're dealing in subject areas that are so impressive when it comes to people being successful, whether it's in their own life or whether it's in business or whether it's working for someone else, whatever it happens to be. If you procrastinate and if you're disorganized and certainly if you're distracted, all of this has an effect on how you perform in anything that you do. Well, let me ask you a couple things, Ted. First of all, how can people get in touch with you?
Well, I can give my phone number for one. People have welcome
Okay,
to
go
call,
ahead and do that. Okay.
which is 617 522 6099. 617
Okay, 617-522-6099. Okay.
Right. That's here East Coast. That's in Boston. You can send me email. My email address is Coach Ted, COACHTED at tedbehr.com. That's my name, TEDBEHR, like the paint, .com. Go to my website, which is www.expressway2success.com. And one thing I can offer people, I offer a free report called Stop Procrastinating and Get Things Done Now, and they can sign up for that on my website.
Fantastic. So now you've got all different kinds of ways to get a hold of Ted. You can phone him at 617-522-6099. You can go to his website, expressway2success.com. And you can also, what was the other way, Ted?
Email me.
Oh, email. Coach Ted at tedbehr, BEHR.com. So you got now 4 different ways to get a hold of him. Well, it's really been an interesting conversation, Ted. I want to thank you so much for being with us today. I'm sure people learned a lot, and at least we're calling their attention to the fact that they might be disorganized or procrastinate or distracted, if nothing more, right?
Well, so it's 2 things. One, to leave people with. One is, these are important issues to be aware of and deal with, and you can overcome them. Maybe maybe you need help. Maybe you need help of a coach or a therapist or an organizer or a friend.
Right. I mean, the main thing is that whatever you really, really, really care about, you can do something about. It's up to you. It really is. But I want to thank you for being with us, Ted. We're at the end of our show. But again, thank you so much for helping us with our own personal procrastination problems today. And I'm sure people will be in touch with you. And thank you so much for being with us.
My pleasure, Dr. Gale.